Welcome, truth seekers, fellow truth seekers. I have something so magical to share with you all right now. If you've seen any of my previous videos, they were the prelude to this because I have been trying to find my authentic self. And as much as I was trying to beat in those previous ones, there's no comparison to where I'm at right now. You are watching live a being, a being, a being, a being ascend in real time, align with her higher self in real time. And it is so fucking amazing, okay? Is all I'm going to start off by saying. I just want you all to know that my intentions for this are to send and spread this beautiful, joyful, unconditional, loving energy out to all the beautiful truth seekers out there. If you resonate with this video and you feel called to continue watching this, whoa, is all I have to say. Congratulations. And do you know how excited I am for you? Because what that means is if you are not already in this frequency as well, you are on your way. So this is your confirmation if you're having a rough time and this video pops into your feed. This is meant to give you hope. Because if I can do this, literally anyone can do this. I've been basically on this journey for 27 years by myself. 7 solid years by myself in hermit mode, celibate, sober, devoted to myself. And I'm going to be kind of emotional throughout this because I am so happy and so grateful. This is what happy looks like for a highly sensitive person such as myself. One of my goals after experiencing the life soul contract that I chose to take coming into this lifetime in this vessel was to experience 40 years of just survival mode and all the low vibrations of fear, shame, guilt, sadness, anger, and not being able to express any of the feelings, not being able to know who I am through that entire time as the biggest people pleaser. To understand that this journey of being in that type of non-loving environment for so long, to be able to finally come upon the frequency of unconditional love that I've known existed, that I knew exists. This is the whole reason. When I took the oath back 27 years ago that I was going to be the generational curse breaker, and I didn't know what that term was at the time, that that I could feel that there was this, what I feel right now. So one of the things I always told myself is that I, as somebody who was in survival mode for 40 years, plus another like two or three, or about another three after that in a different way. So 43 years technically, but 40 from my childhood that extended because of, the contract that I signed, my soul's contract. And sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. I disconnected. Hold on. I had said that I wanted to be able to show those who are in survival mode with their survival switch on, which means your creative switch is off and you have no imaginations, no imagination abilities whatsoever. So when you get to a point where you start to heal and everybody's telling you, imagine what it is and where it is you'd like to be, you're like, what does that mean? What does that really, how do I do that? And you're like it looks like you're pooping, you're thinking so hard about how to do that, right? I had to understand that through my healing and through all the trauma therapy I went through for 6 years. So as going through EMDR and just all the healing modalities, breath work, sound therapy, animal therapy, art therapy, earth therapy, grounding, crystals, divination, massage, Reiki, intuitive, empathic healing. Like, sorry, this is so exciting. And I want to be able to share this for those of you that just want to know what it looks like to make that crossover, to watch me being birthed through my birth canal into unconditional love, timeline, higher frequency, highest version of myself. Sorry. I just am so happy right now because it literally is everything. You know it is. There isn't enough gold you can give me to take this feeling, to say, can I have that feeling for all the gold in the world? No. This is my gold. I want. It was hard for me. I remember asking all the time, what does it look like when you, how do you know when what does it feel like? And people, it's in it, and now I get it because it is. It's hard to put into words, but I am going to try to do my best for those of you that want an idea, because just want a little seed planted. For those of us that have been in survival mode our whole lives and don't know how to use that creative brain. For me, I know I needed that visual. I needed that kinesthetic style version of being able to learn to just go, okay, I'm not trying to mimic or replicate that, but okay, that's what that looks like. Okay, at least now I know which way and which direction. Because again, if you're somebody who never was like, so basically, I've been in the most amazing healing, deep healing work for 7 years. So in reality, I'm only 7 years old, even though I'm 47. I'm a 7-year old in a 47-year-old's body. Because, sorry, this is happy. For those of you that know, that are highly sensitive and empathic and can feel, because it's everything I'm feeling right now. It's amazing. It's ecstasy. It's bliss. It's the love that you knew always existed in the way that you didn't even know how to imagine, but just knew there was something epic, an epic, like love that existed. And luckily in my life growing up, through all the survival and the traumas, and growing up with a dysfunctionally toxic karmic family and emotionally immature environment, that I was able to still experience love in small ways by having relationships that had given me glimpses of love that were beautiful, but that I was just too karmic at the time. And then the one thing that I really wanted to talk about and how I can help others understand one way. And again, this is not about me showing you my way, that you do it this way, not at all. Again, this is just to give you an idea of what one awakening, one expansion into like your super consciousness, I guess, like, yeah. It's the first time I've been able to say that. Like, I'm it's just happy, I swear. Wow. Anyways, I I'm gonna start off by telling you about my day. Okay, it was just 11:33 on the clock, people. Great number. Angel numbers, okay? So you've probably been seeing that combo of numbers, 11s and 3s, and I have for sure. So, if those, another thing of confirmation for you that you're on the path, okay? And again, for those of you that are still watching or watching at all, like, I am so fucking happy for you all. Like, I can't wait to meet you. And okay, so I'm going to start by telling you about my day. It was interesting. It was a different day like I've never experienced. And I had this interesting feeling of like, something's a little different. I wonder, I wonder if this is. So, I woke up and really had this beautiful morning with my cats and just getting ready for my last day of work before my days off, getting ready to be just getting ready to be in my alone space, my hermit space with my cats and my girls, and being able to be in my authentic spaces so I can find more of my passions and my creativity and figure out how I'm wanting to put my soul's purpose out there, and connect more with my higher self and align with my highest self. And I was getting really stoked about this one, thinking like something big is getting ready to happen. And I've been feeling this for a minute. So I wake up today and, like I say, I'm having this beautiful morning with my cats and just doing simple things like cleaning up the house so that I can have it cleaned for my time off and I don't have to do it during my time off. And I enjoy the picking up and making it clean anyway. So this was just like, and it's not hard. It was easy. And so then I had a beautiful meditation and connection with Mother Earth before going into work. And the work that I currently go into in 3D is beautifully cultivated as a position that um, aligns me with the highest version of myself, because it is, I'll just say that for now. So I love it. I love going to it. And it's also like, I love the owners who I work for. They're freaking amazing. The customers are, like 99.9% amazing. My coworkers are cool. And everything I do is something that is going to benefit me for something that I do that helps me move forward within my soul's purpose. Everything I try to do is meant to build me to move forward. And so I go into work and I have this beautiful conversation with my boss as we cross shifts. And this is a place where I get to work in my own space as well. So that's beautiful too, because I can still learn and process while I'm on the job when I'm not working with customers. And okay, so first experience was with my boss. And he was, like I say, beautiful conversation. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't really feel awkward. It actually felt very casual and it's a nice conversation that didn't feel awkward and I didn't feel nervous. And that's just how I typically would feel with people in general. Um, and I have no reason to feel that around him. I would have no reason to feel that around anybody I let myself be exposed to currently. It was just something I was still trying to release. And like I remember I was like, wow, that was really easy and no stress. I was like, awesome. And then before he leaves, he tells me because I had to take a day off because I was having some um physical ailments occurring within the past week that I feel were maybe brought on by energies trying to release in my chakras and my kundalini trying to get through. And also a little combination, I think, of some spiritual attacks entering through some, tears within my energy space still. So aware of all of it, aware of all of it. And like I say, or like I was just saying, my boss had said, you have, I was able to get you paid time off for sick time when you had to take the other day off. Like, I almost started crying because I was like, first I was like, wait, what? What are you saying? And I'm like, are you saying that I'm going to be able to get paid for the day that I had to call in sick because I was in too much pain? And he said, yeah. He's like, yeah, he's like, I was looking into it for you. And I was like, like, he went out of his way to do that for me, which I have not had people go out of their way to do anything for me until recently, but for the majority of my life. That includes my family. Again, part of my soul contract was to go into that experience so that this explosion would feel as it does what you're seeing right now. And I I like almost start crying and I'm like, okay, well, sweet, man. I get paid for the day I was off. And I don't work that many hours anyways, not because I don't want to, but because it's all he can offer me. So to lose the tiny amount of hours I was going to lose was going to be a little harsh for my paychecks because they're keeping me very minimal as is, which was, again, by design, by my higher self, to keep me in a space to not be comfortable and to not get comfortable because for the past 2 years, prior to 2 years, I had cultivated a life that I was able to make money in a way that was allowing me to heal 24/7. And that was, this is, within the past 7 years. This was, during those first 2 years of my healing. This is where, like, if you've seen some of my previous videos, I talk about this, where my soul, my higher self puts me right into flow state. And I just all of a sudden start just cultivating this life that is just like, I'm just gonna be able to work these types of positions that allow me to work with animals and allow me to be in my own space. And I will be able to make money while I heal, and I can still heal all the time because if I'm releasing in any of these jobs, it doesn't matter. No one sees me and it's okay. So I'm sorry to veer, but okay. The reason I said that is because, okay, where was I? Hold on. Just give me a minute. I'm going to pause. Okay, so I remembered. Anyways, yes, I was at my job, and that's why I brought you back, is because again, for me, in order, this is one of the things that I feel is very important, especially as a highly sensitive, empathic, intuitive person that had childhood trauma, that it's very important. And that was people pleasing was your like main characteristic of yourself, your main personality trait, because you lived to appease other people, not yourself. And in fact, you were not allowed to know who you were. Being yourself was completely cut off. So, okay, being around people that allow you as you're trying to heal and learn who you are and be who you are, and kind of work your way out of your old programming into your new aligned higher self, is extremely important if you're going to keep a 3D job. And for me, it meant having to take hardcore pay cuts and take jobs that you learn how to live minimalistically. And that's something that we should all do anyways. I mean, well, okay, we're all doing, we all do what we want to do. But that was something I wanted to do anyways, was live minimalistically. And I had been on that path. But then, like I say, the universe had cultivated for the past 2 years. That's right. That's where I was, where I had all these positions, and all of a sudden, just randomly, they'd start dropping out for no reason. Not because people loved me, because I cultivated to work with only the higher vibrational type of people that had a more awakened state to themselves to work with, not low vibrational people. So, okay. Oh man, I'm kind of losing train of thought again. Sorry. Okay. So, okay. Anyways, so I was explaining why I had such a small amount of hours and why receiving this sick pay was beautiful. And like I say, for me, it was just so exciting because I went, oh, because he was like, yeah, I did a little digging for you. And I was like, so nice. Now the thing you got to know is I've had a lot of downloads lately with like in the past week, even further out, but for sure in the past week saying you have your abundance is on its way. And that first thing may seem small, but it'll be so huge to you. And at that moment when he told me, I was like, that memory of that like last message was like, oh my God, this is that moment. And then what the message said after that was, once you hit that moment, that's when you jump timelines to your higher aligned self. And that's when I stopped after he left, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, holy shit. This is the start. And I was like, and it was weird because at that point, I started getting what felt like anxiety. I now understand that anxiety is our higher self being excited. But if we're not connected with our higher self, we in our ego mind feel it as anxiety. And so, again, that message has been coming to me so frequently lately. So today, I finally heard it because all of a sudden I'm feeling what feels like an anxiety ball in my stomach, right? And I'm like, I'm having such a good day. Well, so then a customer comes in and we start talking, and it was just a beautiful, easy, graceful conversation. Again, recently I've been feeling a little anxious and a little awkward around people because this is the first job right now that I'm doing and working with people in 6 years. Basically had taken myself out of society kind of for the most part. I mean, I straight up, when you get the definition of hermit, my picture should be it. No, I get everybody else. And if you know, because all your pictures should be there too. But you get it. And I loved it. I had to learn how to detach from codependency. And once I learned that, oh man, that was a feeling like this too, where it was like, bam, bitch, I did it. I fucking broke that generational curse. Bye-bye. Okay. So I'm with this customer and we're talking about just one of the products, and um she says, or okay, we start talking about the fact that we both have have dealt with mold exposure. And that'll be, trust me, I'm going to have lots of information coming about mold and mycotoxins, about how to heal from it, how to survive, how to help your home, how to help yourself, how to navigate through it. I've had to overcome it 8 times, people. I not only have lived through it, survived it numerous times, I thrive through it now. And I am in a state where it's actually very much out in the air outside of your home. So to learn how to live in that, I know how to do that too. Anyways, different video. So going back, we were talking about that, and because she started looking at our tea collection, and it's a beautiful organic tea collection, and she had mentioned or I was talking about the teas and noting that even the earthy teas are so amazing because these herbs are so fresh and delicious and just very, very fragrant. And she said, and I recommend the anti-inflammation tea. So this will be another different, or another type of message when I talk about nutrition and herbs and supplements and how to take care, like the right foods to eat to heal your body. Because again, I had to learn how to do it myself and self-taught in this and know how to. And I am very proud of that journey because it is a tough one and not everybody feels like they can make it, and you can. And that's why I am here to give people hope that you can. And I know how you may think that you're like, nope, mine's hopeless. Nope. Because I felt that too at one point. And the couple of times, actually, like I say, I had to deal with it 8 times over and over again. So you really learn how to perfect it, okay? Because it was that or commit suicide. Sorry, trigger warning, but yeah, like I've said before, is that no, that's not an option for me because I always knew happiness and unconditional love existed because I had experienced small glimpses. So we start talking about this anti-inflammation tea, and then I was just getting like I could feel myself being very excited and trying to and just realizing as I was talking to her, I was like, yeah, this is one of my purposes as well, which I've known this going through it, that this is supposed to be a message I am supposed to spread, or I am supposed to spread. Sorry. I'm a little excited right now. So, and I caught myself feeling very, again, like after she left, I was like, wow, I almost feel a little manic or something. I'm so excited. And I'm like, why? Like, where? Calm down. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, and then again, my mind goes back to the fact of I'm like, I feel like is higher self trying to connect with me finally? Like, because for me, I've had moments where I'm having these short glimpses of connection, but I haven't been really, I mean, obviously my soul has been trying to connect forever. But I'm only now just really putting the pieces of the puzzle together, going, okay, this means this instead of this. Anxiety doesn't mean fear. Anxiety means soul is excited, trying to reach you. Connect to that, instead of connecting to the fear side of it. And that's what I did again. And so I'm in the back making some product, and I am getting downloads left and right. One of my downloads, and again, I'm feeling really what I'm going to call like manic. I'm just feeling very like lots of energy, just feeling lots of energy. And I'm like, wow. But I'm aware of it. It's almost like I'm experiencing it outside of my body. And then all of a sudden, I kind of get into a focus where everything kind of starts to mellow out, but I'm still like I'm in this really like okay, and I'm in this okay. Let me try to see if I can explain this better. It was very intentional, I guess is the word. As I was being so intentional with everything, and it felt like I slowed down finally for the very first time in my life. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, or if you've ever known me, that's huge. So I'm like, this feels good. Okay, let's continue. Let's flow with this. Flow state, right? And so that's what one version of feeling in flow state is. Just, accept surrendering to what you're feeling and going, okay, now what? So, and that's what is cool for at my job is I get to make product. If customers come in, I get to help them, and I love being able to help them because it helps to potentially heal them in certain ways. And then we may get talking about topics that help them heal things that I've been through, which is all fun for me. So it's like all of a sudden I'm not doing it as I'm not bouncing around to all these different tasks like I typically would in the very what I thought and I would call energetic way, but would be from an outsider's perspective probably more anxious way. So okay, the next thing. Okay, sorry. Okay, one of my downloads comes through and it's this message because, again, if you've seen my video about how you can work with the algorithms of YouTube to connect to your higher self when you're in the beginning stages of healing as a sensitive, highly sensitive, intuitive person who's been through, things like CPTSD, anxiety, just mental illnesses, but we'll just overlay it as survival mode, okay? And if you've been in that place, wow, I think I've almost lost train of thought. Sorry, hold on. Hold on. Okay, we're back. I um was getting the download. Oh, okay. I was explaining how I made a video about being able to use the algorithms of YouTube specifically to connect with your higher self while you're trying to, if you're in a panicky anxiety mode, we'll say, where it's hard for you to sit down and meditate for even 30 seconds, right? So this was a way that I learned how to, one way, kind of like how tarot, how people, however people want to say it, any type of divination. This is just, in a sense, like a different type of divination in which you still have to discern in the same way when you're meeting people and discerning energies in live form. You have to still do it the same exact way through the algorithms in social media or online. So I had gotten a download through one of my YouTube feeds, and it specifically called out to me, and it was interesting because it's this newer man, and I apologize because I don't know him yet, because I watched him on my cell phone, which I don't subscribe actually to YouTube on my phone. I keep it actually in guest mode. That's a whole nother message I'll be explaining about, cybersecurity and keeping yourself safe online. But, and this I learned because of the con man and the scammer, the guy who stole my identity and put a fraud case on me. And yeah, anyways, all that different, I'll have different videos for those too. Sorry, I know I keep tangenting. Oh my God, 3355, everybody. Just know that it was that. And I've been seeing the fives too, so I bet you have too with the threes again. So, okay, the video that came in, we'll just talk about it. Was this, like I say, a new one? But the first one I saw the other night really spoke to me, and you could feel his authenticity and you could feel his passion for truly being somebody who wants to truth seeker. He's a truth seeker. And so I listened to his video, and it was one of those shorts And it was about connecting with the trees. And if I do find it before this goes out, I will try to put the link down because it was beautiful. And I mean, this is very relevant information for any awakening person. Um, and if you know, you know, you get it. It's about connecting with the trees. He talked about how to have this like connection with the tree where you go up to it and put your hands on it for up to 3 minutes at least. And then you pull your hands away for like about 3 minutes and just feel, going into it, putting your intentions in, your gratitude about wanting to let the trees and the family of trees communicate with you. And then pulling away for 3 minutes, pardon me, pulling your hands away from the tree for 3 minutes and then feeling that energy between your hands and the tree and letting it still give you the information. And then kind of just, then like I stepped aside and just let myself meditate. I was by the lake, still by this tree, and I'm going to start crying because it was so beautiful. Like, I think this is where it started to happen, you guys. And this is why I need to tell you, because this is how flow state works. And like I say, I was able to get this information at work. Einstein took a job in the patent office to have a mind-numbing type of job that was still something that he felt, but it was, when I say mind-numbing, something that's so easy that you can still, like, you can use your mind to still try to process how to move yourself forward while you're still doing work. And that's what this type of job is for me. And that's what I had learned how to cultivate this entire time through the past 7 years of my deep healing work. And so I was sitting there by the lake, by the beach, by these trees, huge trees. And so I sat there and I'm listening and I couldn't really hear anything, but I could just feel like I felt so much love. So much love. And then it brought me back to a memory of when I was younger, because my parents always made us kids always stay outside all the time. And, it was annoying a little bit, because we just wanted to go inside sometimes. But, that was kind of like just their way to kind of get out of our way, go be outside. But in reality, they were doing us a huge favor, because since my own family didn't take care of me growing up, in blood, the humans, my family was Mother Earth and all of nature and the animals and the plants and the trees and the sky and the water and the air. And that's how I survived through it all. It was from living outside mostly, and they would mostly just be inside to go to sleep or to be cleaning the inside of the house. Because my parents had kids to have slaves. For real, I'm not kidding you. This is for reals. And if you were one of those kids that grew up being the ones always having to do daily chores, then you know what I'm saying. Cinderella, Cinderella, oh Cinderella. And so I am just enveloped in this, like, so much love in the air and just surround me. And I just start crying, and I'm releasing, and I'm just like, again, happy tears, but I'm releasing, I don't know what, it just, something was releasing. And then like I had the need, the feel to put my hands from after, because I was holding my hands like this at first in my meditation, and then I went to hold my heart and my Azure point, the 8th chakra behind your thymus gland. But here, if you hold put your hand on your sternum above your heart chakra. And I was just holding it like this and my eyes closed, and I could hear, it was so interesting what I could hear when my eyes were closed after having this communication attempt with the trees. Is like I say, I just felt this like amazing feeling of what I could, like I say, only assume was unconditional love, since I've never experienced that at this level in my life. Which, like I say, drew out the tears initially. But then there were constant birds. I could hear all these different birds flying above, and birds that I was like, they almost sounded tropical at times, and I am not in a tropical state. And they were definitely talking to me. And so I had, also said, okay, please help translate the messages from the birds, because I do have a connection with birds as well as animals. I am way more of an animal person than I am a human person, which I'm sure we all are, most of us. And so, yeah, and then so I just sat there, and like I say, I'm going to cry because it was just beautiful. It felt peaceful. It felt perfect. It felt like I was home, And in theory, I actually was home. I'm near my hometown. I'm in my home state. And it was the first time since I've been back in 9 months that I've actually felt home. But not because of where I'm at, because of how I felt. And because of this message that came from the trees and the birds. And the reason I had done that today specifically was because of that message I got at work, that download. And then putting everything together, that source has been trying to speak to me. And it was that message had, and like I say, because it was a different guy than I tipped, because I'm very, very discerning on who I choose. There's a lot that's going to come at you if you're going to attempt this method without without having an understanding of what I'm saying. If you're not intuitive enough to know that, there's a lot that's going to come at you to trick you. And they'll, try to mislead you and misinformation you in ways. So, like I say, I have learned from the get-go about how to navigate that. And that's one of my superhero powers. That intuition and that intuitive place of my intuition, which is a superhero power in its own, that I just am now only in the past recent, really, really, truly understanding. So, okay, I'm going to try to keep this under an hour, and because I hope that this is still exciting, and that's the point, is I am trying to send my excitement, this unconditional love, this peace, this amazing, beautiful feeling to everyone, to every one of the truth seekers who are trying to awaken and heal. This is for you. This is exactly for you. Sorry, I'm just going to cry again. Give me a minute, because I can't believe this is happening. This is going to be what it feels like for you, okay? And if you can feel this, it's happening for you too. It's happening. And I'm so sending you the love. Okay, so there's more. Well, let me think. Is there really more? Oh, yes. Okay, there is actually a huge part to this. So, okay, I get, after the park, and then I take after this meditation with the trees and the birds and the lake, I go on this beautiful bike ride, and I decide to listen to another download through my algorithms, my source algorithm. And just every message that I was clicking on today was literally giving me a step by step, this is your next move. This is your next move. And I'm like, it seems very, very, they're literally somebody speaking to me. And that's how it's always felt to me, but with even more intention and even more hello, I'm speaking to you, and I know you're hearing me right now. And it's like, what, me? Wow. You're speaking to me. Okay. Okay. So I decide to bike home, and I'm excited to hang out with my cats, because it's always an exciting part of the day. We get to do treats, and they love it. And then we get to have girls' night, and That's me getting them excited for me coming home so that they have something to look forward to because I love making or seeing them happy as well. And they're happy makes me happy too. So, um, and okay, so I start making dinner. Oh, 44, 34. Fours as well, people, and three fours have been super huge. 4441, 4442, 4443, 4444. Those like, and the four I saw 440 too, by the way. 4440 to 4444, even 4445 are like my favorite chunk of numbers because it's a amazing angel message. And so, anyways, I'm here. I'm making dinner, and um, all of a sudden, like what you're seeing right now starts happening. All of a sudden, I'm like, really good. No, like, wait a minute. What could I send you? Is this? And I was like, oh my God, because I feel like invincible. I feel powerful. I feel confident. I feel beautiful, which is something I typically would never have said before. I've been learning to feel that about myself, but to actually say it about myself would have seemed a little too, arrogant for me to be like, ugh. But in a different way, I was like, huh. So all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. I remember another message that's come through where somebody was just telling me that when you're feeling good and you're feeling like you're connecting with source, go in the bathroom, talk into your mirror and tell yourself that I love you. Tell your little self, I love you. Tell your soul, your higher self, I love you. And but most importantly, look into your eyes and tell yourself, I love you. I went in feeling like I was going to be for the first time. Other times I've been like, maybe I hope to see my higher self, and that's the goal. This time I went in going, I'm going in to talk to my higher self right now. And at that moment, I went into the bathroom and I started, I love you. I love you, little self. I love you, little me. And I love you, higher self. And I love you. All of a sudden, I started remembering the first time I ever felt the way that I'm feeling right this moment. I was 2 years into college, so about 19. And I had been drinking up until that point. I tried alcohol at 14 and this is probably a little cliche, but it felt like glitter was going off inside of me. I heard this in a movie and I thought, what a perfect interpretation of how I felt. But I just felt like I could be confident and speak truth and be confident in that. And most importantly, be the closest version of myself that I felt because I couldn't be that when I wasn't drinking because during those young years, especially around my family, anytime my true self came out, it was usually screamed out of me, beat out of me, whatever. And so, okay. So Um, up until that point, from 14 till 19, I had only drank alcohol and smoked a couple of cigarettes here and there up until that point. That was not my main thing because I was a soccer player for 18 years. So I just had it here and there. Wasn't trying to, smoke at that time. Had cannabis offered to me a bunch of times and passed it by. Just kind of grew up with a dad that, grew up in reefer days and was like, don't do drugs, but, pot's bad. Like, and it was like, oh, but you're a super hardcore alcoholic. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But um, anyways, so first drug ever offered to me my second year up at school, mushrooms. Before where I go, okay, it was me, a guy I was kind of interested in, and then another girl and a guy. So it was two girls, two guys. And we take this in the middle of winter in a cold state. And we spent 8 hours of Wonderland outside in the snow with our pet triangle Snowball, which we called, very creative, Triangle. And we carried that baby with us all through our trip. And even when we went inside as we're starting to come down and Triangle started to melt and die. And as it's melting through our fingers, we're all crying like, no, Triangle. Anyways, going back to the trip, this was my first exposure to what I am feeling right now. And I was thinking then, while I was in the bathroom in the now time, in the recent, I was like, I felt this feeling before. I was like, this is how you feel when you're tripping in the most magical way possible. I felt this. And I'm like, and then like I say, my memory went right back to that first time doing mushrooms at 19. And the four of us had the best time out in this super cold amount of weather where if you weren't high on mushrooms or tripping on mushrooms, there would be no way, because it was night. We went well into the night, like at least 6 hours, if not the full 8 hours outside, and we were just making snowmen in the snow. We were on the ice. I was dancing like a ballerina. I found that like I love to dance, and I've known this. I always wanted to dance. But there were, parental things in the previous that, didn't allow things because we grew up in a very low to middle income, I would say middle income to lower middle income family. And, me being the oldest, like I got the garage sale closed sort of thing that, grew up looking like a boy. And so, it was just magical. And we all had so much fun. And I remember thinking like, I wish I could feel like this all the time. And you can. That's the point of what I'm trying to make, is you can. Because people, this is not drug induced. This is life. This is raising to your higher self, raising your frequency to a higher. When you're in a higher frequency, now I understand why people, because so what my conclusion is, what I'm trying to get at is, if you've ever tripped, had an amazing plant medicine with ayahuasca, DMT, mushrooms, potentially acid, but I mean, trying to stick more with plant medicine. So I've had these with some acid trips that I've done in the past, but it's not about the synthetic. It's about, if you're going to do that route, sticking with plant medicine. And of course, if you're going to be doing that, to open up your mind, to be doing it with a well-trained, certified shaman, because you can go into bad spaces with that can be detrimental. So it is very important. But like I say, luckily, which is really interesting, that after my whole experience, 19 years of having this experience of just pure fear survival mode, of living at home, wondering every day as my dad gets home from work, like, when is he going to take his shit out on me? It's not if, it is when. 5 minutes, an hour, because I was the target, or my mom. So, but I always, even if he'd get at my mom, and if I couldn't get out to get to a friend's house, and if I ran into his path, he would find something to, want to be angry about at me and project onto me. So I could have had that first trip on mushrooms be scary, potentially, when I think back on it, and, but no, I started thinking, and now we're going back to my now, as I'm in the mirror telling myself I love me, I'm going, wait a minute, this was part of my soul contract. At that time, I had set it up with my soul that, yes, I would experience 19 years of not having any type of loving environment. I didn't hear the words "I love you" until I was 14. And in my entire life, I've maybe heard it 5 from my parents, maybe one time on my hand that I can count it. Where it wasn't, like I had to say it first as I got older, to try to get something in return. And so, like I started thinking, I was like, oh my God, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Hold on one sec, I gotta pause. Okay, well, so anyways, I have like 6 minutes roughly. So I am basically realizing, like, holy shit. Being an expansion, and because then I started going, wow, yeah, when you're in a tripping space or when you're in a plant medicine space, you are always doing the next thing to that excites you. And that's what aligning with your highest self is doing for yourself in the now what excites you. Like, what excites you when you're on mushrooms? Talking with the trees, watching the leaves and the trees breathe, like playing with the animals, watching their bodies move in the really interesting way and watching them react back with you, watching even the tangible objects, like, talk and walk with you, and then you don't have to be around other people to enjoy it. You love your alone space in the same way that you love it when you're in this space. And in the same way that it's a bonus if you get to have a divine partner or a soul family or a soul tribe with you, it's that much fun when you're tripping to have other people around. You're like, it's a bonus, yeah, let's all have fun, right? And so this is meant for those of you who are having issues turning on your creative button and shutting off your survival mode button. That if you're trying to just know what it looks like to feel what it feels like to ascend, to expand into consciousness, into super consciousness, this is an example, people, and I'm being as raw and authentic as you see. And it's great because I also remember during that time, like I say, feeling like, wow, I just feel like so free. And that's what I feel like right now. I feel like I'm regaining my sovereignty and my birthright and my inheritance right now. And so if you've lasted this long in this video, yours is coming too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dance it out, right? The feelings that are like the electricity that is flowing through my body right now. If any of you can feel it, I send it so all to you. Like, mm, I'm sending so much love and so much gratitude. But most of all, I'm just sending this energy out to those of you that are needing some of that light right now, especially if you're in a moment where it's feeling rough, because trust me, I know. Like I say, total 27 years, people. It's been a long time coming. 47 years in this lifetime. And one other thing I wanted to say, I've always known since at least my mid-20s that my 40s, something exceptional and something magical that I was going to experience, and that my life was truly going to begin in my 40s. Again, my higher self was telling me this all along, and I've known this, and I've always believed this. And it's so interesting because literally right at the as the clock hits midnight on my 40th birthday, that's when fucking shit went. I mean, I literally shifted into a timeline that I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? I don't know if I want to be part of this timeline, but I guess it's got to be good because and it's something different. There's different energy going on here. And yeah, like I say, that started 7 years ago, people. That shift. 7 years later. So, if you're somebody who is highly sensitive, empathic, if you've dealt with we'll just say any type of mental illness, even though I've dealt with CPTSD, anxiety, panic attacks, survival mode, gang stalking, con men, having your identity stolen, human trafficking, gang stalking, if you've dealt with abusive parents, addictions, addictive family, a family with a slew full of addictions, if you've dealt with emotionally immature parents, narcissists, karmics. That's just that would be the general term for it. Dysfunctionally toxic home life plus family. If you've been on your own your whole life, if you've been the black sheep, if you're the chosen, if you're the 144, if you're the generational curse breaker, this video is for you. I love you so much. Sending so much love. Mwah. Thank you for watching.